Guantanamo Bay, the United States naval base located on the communist island of Cuba. But why does it exist on an island ruled by a sworn enemy? It's 1898, and the island is ruled by the Spanish Empire. The Cuban inhabitants, however, don't appreciate this, and have led several revolts over the years. Public opinion in the United States is generally in favor of the Cuban resistance, with the American newspapers exaggerating stories of Spanish concentration camps in order to sell newspapers. US President William McKinley was less enthusiastic about the possibility of war with Spain and wanted to pursue a peaceful resolution. However, his hand was forced when the US Navy cruiser Maine mysteriously exploded and sank in Havana Harbor on February 15th. After having lost Florida to the US in 1821 under similar circumstances, Spain was reluctant for a repeat in Cuba. There was a fear that handing over the colony could spark a revolution back home. And so began the Spanish-American War. Almost 4 months later, it was over, a comprehensive victory for the United States. Under the Treaty of Paris, the Spanish colonies of the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico were ceded to the US, who also gained temporary control of Cuba. During the war, the US Navy secured Guantanamo's harbor, and with the help of Cuban forces, defeated the Spanish at the Battle of Guantanamo Bay. Although the war was now over, the US continued to maintain a strong military presence on the island. The Platt Amendment in 1901 stated that the government of Cuba will, quote, sell or lease to the United States lands necessary for coaling or naval stations at certain specified points, to be agreed upon with the President of the United States. The Cubans were a little reluctant to agree to this, but went along with it anyway and incorporated the amendment into its constitution. In 1903, land for a naval base at Guantanamo Bay was granted to the United States. The lease had no expiration date, and the US agreed to pay $2,000 in gold every year. In 1934, the US decided to change the payment from gold to US dollars. Based on the price of gold at the time, the price was changed to $3,300 every year. The lease price was adjusted 2 more times, with the latest change coming in 1974, now costing the Americans $4,000 per year. Payments have been sent annually, but only one payment was cashed after the Communist Revolution in 1959, when Fidel Castro claimed the check was cashed in error. After the Cuban Revolution, both US and Cuban troops set up barbed wire fences, minefields, and watchtowers, creating a no-man's land that circles the base. So why doesn't the United States close the naval base and give it back to Cuba? With the base now also being used as a prison for suspected terrorists, that's probably not happening anytime soon. The Cuban government has called the base illegal and demanded its return, but with the lease both a part of the country's constitution and it does not expire, there's a good chance the US naval base will remain there for the foreseeable future.